He's always taken it on himself to help people in many ways. I think that Cliff was probably very instrumental in my getting started in my first house, the first one that I ever bought. He had the idea. He explained it to me, and I believed him and went for it, but he helped me get into my first house. I know he's helped other people get into homes, gone out of his way, taken a lot of time with them. I remember as a young man, we lived over on Wellington Street, he gave Mother a 49 green Buick. And me and Tommy Malura were 15 years old. We borrowed it and went out on the military highway with it before we had a driver's license. And when I got home, Mama was there waiting for me with a butcher knife, gonna kill me. Clifton came in and saved my life. And explained to her how that it was just things boys do, no harm had been done. And I remember thinking at the time that that occurred that he really, really saved my life. Because my mama would kill you.
He took Pat, you know, and I took Jimmy when the family broke up housekeeping. And of course he got naturally a little closer to her than I did.
So he raised Pat from a little girl. He just took her like she was, just like she was his. See, Elmer drank, and so the older boys raised the younger children. So him and Lloyd had raised Clifton and Pat. Just from, when I say raised them, they give them money to go to school, and they bought clothes for them, and they just actually took the place of a father for them. When they called, he went over there, and I don't know what happened when he first got there and all, but when he called me, and I asked him, he told me about the house, and I asked him, was anybody hurt? And he said, Mama, Pat's dead. And he started crying. And he just was real shook up, the worst I ever seen him. I think he took it the hardest of anything I've ever seen happen to him. I think the whole family did. I think it hurt Jimmy. I think it hurt the whole family. Everybody, because everybody loved Pat.
about the most comical thing that happened on that trip was watching Clifton and those long legs try to ride that donkey up to the top of Mount on the Isle of Patmos, where Paul was, and we went up there, and I had to watch him get on this donkey and his feet dragging the ground when he went up to the top of the mountain. So that would be the most humorous. I watched him in a lot of stress and didn't seem to see him worry too much.
I was first acquainted with Mr. Chalk when I worked for Sid Tatum, and I worked for him back in 1963. Came to work for Mr. Chalk in 1965. Been with him 21 years, and it's quite a long time. That's longer than a lot of marriages last. He's been a fine person to work for. I've learned a lot from him. He's really helped me to gain self-confidence. He's always told me there wasn't anything I could do or couldn't do. But he's always told me to think positive, never to think negative. And this has helped, but he still has to drill me on that once in a while. I tell him I'm positive I can't do something, and he tells me I'm being negative about it, you know. I think he's a very caring person, devoted to his family, loves his kids, do anything for them. And he'd do anything for, I think, for most of his friends.
I think that if I had to tell a story that would describe Clifton Chalk, it would be the one of where he first started making a little money, you know, to amount to anything. And he went into Farm Fresh over on Military Highway.
He went into the grocery store, and we were walking up and down the aisle, and there was this old black man in there, and the man was buying some stuff off the shelf. And he was in raggedy clothes, and obviously, you know, having a tough time, indigent. And I remember Clifton looking at him and watching him for a few minutes, and the old man was buying some stuff, and he was counting his money, buying the stuff, and he put some of the stuff back.
And Clifton had just had a real good day, you know, selling insurance, and his heart just opened up to this person, and he reached in his pocket, and he had a lot of change in there, and he just took out all of the change that he had, which was almost 2 hands full, and he put it in the person's hand, and then he turned around and walked away. So if I had to describe Clifton, I think I would use that story to describe him.
Clifton has always been a giver. I believe he's given away to different peoples at different times more than a lot of men has made. And he don't try to give it for a show. He just gives it where he feels like it's needed giving it. He don't try to give it and grow a home about it, but he just gives it. So that's the reason I feel like that the Lord has blessed him the way that he has through the years. And you know, anybody that knows has got to say the Lord has blessed Clifton. And Clifton has the ability for a leader. He's not a follower at all. He's a leader. He's going to lead somebody. In whatever field he works in, he'll be a leader.
I would describe him as a good, honest fellow. One that always had a heart to help other people. Ever since I've known him, ever since he was a little boy, he wanted to help other folks. And he did. He's helped me a lot. Seemed like he never could repay me for what I did for him. I didn't do much. Didn't have much to do with them days, but he never could seem to repay me for what I had done for him, and still don't. He's a good fellow. Stay true and meet me in heaven. Stay true to the Lord and meet me in heaven. That's what I'd tell him. He's been good to me.
Farewell, old range, my work is through. There's a roundup in the sky. I give my pony back to you. There's a roundup in the sky. I'm gonna burn my brand on the silvery hide of a shooting star and take a ride to the land beyond the great divide, to the roundup in the sky. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
When he was growing up, my mother was living, you know, and they'd go down and stay weeks at a time, and he was just an average child, and full of life and fun, and we all loved him, and all the rest of it, and his children.
I describe him as a very aggressive, generous person. Very generous to the majority of people that he's crossed paths with in his life. And unappreciated by a lot, not realizing how good he has been to them, a lot of people. But Clifton's always, ever since I can remember, been good to people.
I think I would introduce him as one of my best friends, one that has stood by me through the years. He's helped me work through a lot of things. He's an intelligent man, highly intelligent. His memory is second to none. I've always admired him for that. One of the best salesmen that ever walked the face of God's green earth. I say that sincerely. In fact, I attribute all of my salesmanship, plus a little help from the Lord, to Clifton, because I got my training through him, because I worked for him when I was very young. And I think I would introduce him as a very successful businessman, a man that loved people. He loves his work. He's just all around fabulous